you've painted this model a lot.
Yeah, painted her a lot. This is my fiance Kelly, but never this particular, never using this reference photo, never from this position. But I painted her a lot. I find her face really hard to paint because it's so damn good looking. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. But this is nice because we have, kind of half body in there.
Yeah. I actually like the foreshortening. I think it's interesting. And at first I wasn't sure whether I was just going to do a close-up of her expression, which is pretty funny.
Right.
Or stick with the entire figure. And I think because I'm working a little bit larger than I normally do in these videos, that I'm just going to do the entire piece here. So I'm working on a 10 by 10 wood panel. What do you have there?
9 by 12 wood.
Okay.
And I'm working in oils. I got a little Gamsol as my solvent and a mixture of liquid, linseed oil, and Gamsol as a medium in a little squirt jar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have sworn off mediums.
Yeah.
I tried to for a little while. I tried to figure out good mixtures, and yeah, it's just easier for me to work directly just with paint.
Yeah, I get that. For me, I am not picky about the so-called medium that I use. It could even be a little bit of the Gamsol, but I really do like to have this squirt thing because it's what's in it, as long as it kind of keeps the paint moving.
Yeah.
It's definitely really clean, and I can really control how much is coming out, so I can add a couple really clean drops to whatever paint I'm mixing pretty quickly. So I'm not like I don't try out all the different mediums and stuff, and I don't really even have one that I love, but just something in that jar is pretty important for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to like liquid.
Yep.
Straight liquid. And when I switched from the normal oil to the water soluble, I tried a variety of both acrylic and oil-based mediums, but they don't work exactly like they do with their own accompanying paint bases. So I decided just to not concern myself with it at all.
Yeah. What do you mean with their accompanying paint?
Well, when you use, or at least when I used, acrylic medium with acrylic paint, it behaves a certain way. There's a certain predictability in the consistency of the paint and the different gels and mediums you use, same as an oil. However, with these water-based oils, it doesn't behave exactly the same way as it does.
Got you.
With like plain acrylic or plain oil paint.
Got you.
Yeah. So I've been working on larger figure pieces, and I've been sort of doing them by section. And now that I have the smaller piece here, I'm kind of all over the place, just starting off.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I like starting from usually a point of having some color everywhere. It's not like I can just paint the actual portrait and then kind of fill in afterwards.
Uh-huh.
It kind of drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I've never been able to do it. I know
Wait.
that some other people endorse it, but
So you're kind of saying working the canvas all at once, like all over.
yes,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, that's absolutely how I paint too. I think it makes it well, the figure is in relationship to the space all around it. So as I'm figuring out all these little negative shapes, I'm kind of figuring out the figure at the same time. And then of course it helps with those color value relationships too.
Oh, man. So, what has your autumn been like so far? I know that the last time I saw you, we were doing some plein air painting outside,
Mm-hmm.
and you said that you were doing some workshops or something.
Yeah. So I'm teaching at Western Carolina University,
Mm-hmm.
and so that takes up a tremendous amount of time. Um, I, I I like it, but since all the COVID craziness, it has changed dramatically, and it's a ton of work to kind of refigure out. So that takes up a lot of my time. Now it's finally kind of rolling, and
Mm-hmm.
students know what to expect. I know what to expect, so it's pretty good at this point. Um, but in addition to that, yeah, I teach workshops. I just do a couple every month via Zoom, and this month coming up, I have one with the Art Center in Carborough, which is called Painting the Light. It's about like painting landscape in dramatic lighting situations.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have another one that this is good practice for with the Asheville Art Museum, um, which is painting the figure from photographic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I have not been doing any of those things. Um, I thought about possibly because I was asked to do um, a workshop, and then it just seemed so complicated.
Yeah. You mean like now, like over
Yeah.
Zoom? Yeah, it is. I've done a bunch like myself, just out of my studio, like we're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a lot of work communicating with students and, just figuring everything out, getting everybody the right link and all sorts of stuff. Um, so places like the Asheville Art Museum have someone on staff that really takes care of all that stuff and also like is there doing technical
Yeah,
stuff with me, and that like makes a
that's
map
great.
so I can really just concentrate on teaching.
Yeah, I would have had to do most of it myself, so it
uh
would have been an absolute shit show.
yeah, yeah, it can get tough. And yeah, so in some of the classes when I'm doing it all myself, like I can't I can tell I'm not like articulating things as well as I should, or I just get exhausted because I'm like doing so many things at once, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I try. I do my best to practice no multitasking.
I like that.
And it's hard because I spent so long, especially when I was at school and then afterwards, was trying to figure out how to cram um, X, Y, and Z into a day that I really didn't have time for,
Yeah.
to do all that. And so I don't know whether it's a function of age or, whether I'm just kind of chilling out a little bit now that I'm not paranoid and in my 20s anymore,
Right.
But I try to keep I try to keep one concept in my mind at a time.
You're inspiring me, man. I'm maybe a little like your frantic 20-year-old self. Yeah, I try to squeeze a lot in, and I mean, I think not multitasking is a good idea. I also just want to be more productive in general and feel like I can be, but have like energy issues.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But I think focusing on one thing at a time would be a pretty good practice for me. So thank you. Like a therapy session.
Yeah. I have to remind myself to do that, or else I start to produce work um, for circumstances that I no longer need to prepare work for. It's sort of like muscle memory, but it's not really required anymore. I if I don't stop myself, I'll just start to work like I'm preparing for a show.
Like
all the
what?
time.
Like what do you mean? Like at that speed? And
Yeah, like if I go back to working on several pieces at once, like I was doing so often before, and not really completing anything from start to finish, I just get into this real automatic thing, and I, I'm pretty sure that I don't save time. I kind of lose time somehow magically, and it's because I'm so focused on the quantity of things that my mind starts to wander to other like energies of quantities of things.
right.
Um, that's the best way I can describe it. I may not be articulating myself at all. It may sound like complete nonsense, but that is the closest to the truth I can get right now while I'm painting, without going back and like writing it down and editing shit.
No, I relate to I relate to what you're saying in some capacity, whether it's what you mean or not. I think that um, working on a lot of things at once can just be really inefficient. You're sacrificing
Yeah.
a lot by doing that, and I think that's sort of part of my struggle now with teaching.
Mm-hmm.
Is just that it takes up so much of my energy that I do have plenty of free time, but it's hard to like really silo that teaching work and make sure I'm able to like completely focus on other stuff during the semester.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that might be sort of part of my productivity issues. But, you know, I often have to remind myself just painting, usually from observation for me, always makes me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just getting a painting done in a day always makes me feel better at the end of a day.
Yeah, that used to be okay. That used to sort of be enough for me. And I don't know what exactly it's been over the past 2 or 3 months, but um, unless I'm accomplishing something I don't want to be doing, I don't really feel the same satisfaction.
I
I,
mean,
I like unless I'm working on a commission piece that I'm really not too enthusiastic about, you know, and getting those things out of the way, I feel, um, yeah, I feel like it's not really accomplishment to keep doing the same old for me. And I mean, I, I hope someday it will be, but it's kind of morphed a little for me the last maybe 5 months.
yeah. I mean,
What I'm saying is I need to be torturing myself just a little. There needs to be some self flagellation.
flatulation?
No, not with a T, with a G.
Okay, okay.
Yes. And your fiance's name is again
Kelly, we're painting Kelly.
Kelly. Kelly. Okay.
Yeah.
This photo of Kelly, um, she kind of has her mouth open just enough that her jaw isn't moving that much, and that can be tricky because I
Yeah.
almost want to lower her face just a little bit more, but it's not quite that low.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm not sure whether I'm going to really get the expression or not. I think both of us are choosing to do some of the full body here.
Yeah.
Really capturing that expression in such a small scale with the way I paint is tough. I'm going to go for it, but I don't really know what's going to happen.
It sounds like every single day for me, just going for it.
Got to.
It doesn't seem that way from the outside. I think sometimes other people see that you're sort of working and that you're producing a certain level quality of work, and that it, they assume that nothing is really happening and that you're not taking chances, but you still do.
For sure.
It's not always obvious, the sort of risks that you take with a piece, but I think they're definitely there.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm using a little cheap brush. One of these tiny watercolor acrylic brushes to put the paint on the face. And I was looking through today, and all of my smaller bristle brushes for oil are all destroyed. Like, I fucked up every single one of them doing something.
Yeah, I run through brushes too, and I like little cheap brushes. Got a couple kind of nicer ones too, but cheap brushes work great for me.
I think I've extolled the virtues of brushes from IKEA a few times now, and I just need to get to the point where I am working large enough so that I can use them on a larger scale, because right now they're only good for so many things. They're called Mala brushes.
Swedish?
And yeah, they're I'm pretty sure you just get them in the kids section. And when I first started painting, I kind of ran out of brushes, so I asked my daughter at the time, who was, I don't know, 5 or 6, if she had brushes around, and she gave me. She said, "Oh yeah, I my brushes are here," and she had these brushes that she had picked up at IKEA several months earlier, and I tried them out, and I really like them, and I like blocking things in with them, and they work pretty fast. Although, for some reason, it just they I how do I explain this? Um, I'm more comfortable using them alone. There it is.
You mean like by yourself in the RV without anyone around?
Yes.
In secret? In privacy?
Maybe.
So what are
I
they?
feel I feel so naughty.
Like, are they like flat brushes, like house paint things?
Yeah, they're like flat, bristle, kind of real simple brushes.
I use brights all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's good for me to push my brush comfort zone. I like to try to experiment with different brushes than I would normally use. Because, if you can paint, you can always get the paint down. And sometimes working with new brushes can just make that kind of interesting. So I like the idea of using a house brush and stuff like that. house paint brush.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
I only have one house painting brush. It's one of those little nubby brushes, you know, the ones that have the handle that looks like they're designed for like really tight spaces, you know, where there is no handle. It's like a nub almost that you grab and you paint with that. I have one of those that I kind of like.
Nice.
Yeah, but and then the brushes that I have received from some friends that are kind of the fancier ones from the name brands. I can only use them for about 2 or 3 days before I ruin them.
Really?
And before they're just back to, it's just back to whatever the hell I was using before. And they're like no different from the inexpensive ones, you know? So I actually never end up investing in anything too good because I don't have the control to not scrub or use them when they're in my hands for whatever I want, you know?
Right. Yeah. What was I gonna say?
No self-control.
Yeah. I know.
Such a shame.
You got to be. Oh, yeah. Brushes for me are little like t-shirts where I'll buy one because I think it looks good, I think it'll fit me good, whatever. But I don't have any idea whether it's gonna be a good t-shirt for me or not until time goes by, and it can turn out to be an amazing t-shirt, my favorite one that I wear all the time, or it just stays in my drawer and I never use it, and I can't really predict that kind of shit. The brushes are the same for me. I sometimes go buy brushes because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do major things with this, and I just don't use it that much. I guess to really figure it out, you need to spend some time painting with it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, some of these shapes in the face I'm trying to get at now. I would normally take the panel and actually hold it while I do this and not really concern myself with doing a lot of fine motor skill stuff with my arms suspended because I also don't use a maul stick.
Neither.
Yeah. I've always, I don't know. This sounds terrible too. I'm just full of, I'm just full of these secrets today, Ben. I've always thought that it looks a little lame to use a maul stick unless you're working on a giant piece.
I mean, but looks lame to who? Like
to me.
Yeah, I just am never that careful with anything I make. So
it's that kind of I don't know, maybe it's just the narcissistic tendency to think that even when no one's watching you, someone's watching you do it.
Yeah, for sure.
And really, nobody cares what I'm doing, but still, I have this idea that I don't think they're gonna want to see me use a maul stick. You know, I wouldn't even know how to make. I'd have to look up how to make one.
Isn't it just a stick?
I think it has some kind of like a felt ball on the end, so you can put it against something.
Right. Yeah, I've just never ever had the like inclination to use one. I guess that makes me a little cooler than you. Maybe I'm just saying it for the camera, and I keep like 5 of them on deck in the studio.
That's what it's all about. Okay, yeah, I definitely should not have put a spot of black under the nose. Crap. Now I have to find another small brush to pull that out. I should have just left all that gray. Fuck, I just destroyed that.
You'll bounce back, Chris. I believe in you.
Yeah. One. Yeah, that was not brilliant, Chris. I don't know what I was doing there. Okay. That's a little better. Shit.
I am being too like finicky with my painting. I need to get a bigger brush and just start laying shit in.
Well, it's always harder to paint someone that you know really well.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't feel any like pressure to capture her essence in
Yeah.
this. Um, yeah, in this case, just using her as a reference.
Yeah, I still hold on to some of the notions from portrait classes I took when I was a teenager. I still have those voices of people in my head.
What do they say?
They say, that's too dark. It's not the right phase to be doing that yet. You know, all those little art school nags.
Yeah, my painting teacher in college, Kirk Wang, is from Beijing, and he would
Mm-hmm.
show these pictures of um, Chinese art school students' paintings.
Yeah.
The professor would write on them with Sharpie, like, you know, and he would translate it, and it's like, you call that a shadow? Like things like that.
Oh, shit.
Just direct work.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I basically just was a sculptor for so many years. I remember a few times where in the beginning they would really correct your work if the balance of your piece was really off, they'd sort of grab it and manipulate it a little bit.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, but they never wrote anything on it. At least I don't think they did.
yeah, I wish I did more sculpture. Really, uh, that much chose to get much sculpture education.
Yeah, it was fun. Um, for me, it was definitely a dated thing. Like, it was something I did in the 90s and early 2000s. And that's it. And I really haven't done anything ever since. So
Do you ever
it feels like a long time ago.
Yeah. Do you ever want to? Do you ever get like a little desire to?
No, never. No, I I thought that I would eventually, but it just hasn't. Yeah, it just hasn't happened yet. I
Yeah.
mean, I can go and look at some pretty great three-dimensional work and um, just be able to appreciate it and not think about the casting process anymore,
Yeah.
or you know, kind of secretly think, oh, this person could have done it that way and gotten a better result. Like those kind of ideas have left me.
Uh huh.
So it's just pretty much appreciation now whenever I see anything.
Uh huh.
So
Cool.
yeah, I think it's neat.
Um. Yeah. I mean, sculpture. So there's so much more process involved. Painting's such a instant gratification kind of thing.
I think that's what I was looking for
Right.
in school, and then I just I chose sculpture, and then I used to try to work so fast because I wanted the instant gratification that all the painters had,
Right.
but I didn't want to actually paint.
Uh huh. Interesting. Um. Yeah, I think that's what uh, I feel confident that painting's my thing because of that.
Hmm.
I need to be able to um, create and see what the product is becoming right in front of me right away. Like that, it's just a really exciting thing to me uh, about painting.
Hmm. Huh. In the glare, I thought that Kelly's left anatomical eye wasn't looking that bad, and I just leaned forward and I saw what a mess I made with the back end of my brush. Shit.
Uh,
Fuck. But I mean, this is what's actually going through my head um when I paint portraits anyway, so might as well just say it out loud.
yeah, man, that's what. Um, I thought you were gonna say you can notice that she has two different color eyes, which you definitely can't in this picture, but she does.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I was just remarking how I thought that I had a good shape in one of her eyes, and it was just glare. uh, oh, yeah. Jeez, that's still not good. Okay, I'm just going to go in there and hatch in a darker kind of a gray. Yeah, that's a little bit more believable. Okay. Ooh, it was rough there for about 30 seconds, Ben.
Yeah, these things can change quick.
Uh,
I could really spend this whole time on her sweater. Um,
yeah.
just trying to really get the all those value relationships.
Yep. Yeah. I think the way I blocked it in is going to prevent me from overworking it. I just kind of threw blue in there right off the bat. I sort of drew it out with some burnt sienna, and then immediately in all the shadows, I didn't really think about it. I just kind of tossed blue in there. And I think that might be a happy accident. And it'll probably keep me from going too blue too fast and keep it warm. I find that sometimes if I already put a color in a location, like a color shape that's right up against some neutrals, that is either really cool or really warm, it adjusts how I treat everything when I get back around to it again, you know?
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I have like a cloud that's really high in the picture plane that's supposed to be overhead, if I put a little blue in there right off the bat, I tend to not go overboard with blue afterwards and make it kind of too intense or too dark.
Yeah, so you start off with a more saturated color.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because my first thought would be I usually start with a more neutral and let those brighter colors emerge. I'm having trouble, might be the foreshortening, I don't know, but she looks like a weird kind of puppet. She's very stiff. Like her arm relationships and mine is like very, very stiff.
Yeah, well, maybe, I don't know. Mine looked a little stiff before I put in the notion of this this wicker chair.
Okay.
And then once I kind of threw that in, it kind of grounded it and visually related her arms and her clothing to the background.
Yeah, that's a good call, Chris. I think I'll see if that can help me. But her left arm, what seems to be our right arm, is really difficult for me to draw. I guess figuring that out, throwing me off for some reason.
Yep, it's throwing me off too. In my mind, I called it to begin with. I said, "Is going to be a pain in the ass."
Yeah.
So when I am faced with that, I have this way of trying my best to accept it and just embrace it. And when I do that, I can almost look through the anxiety of having it sort of be the albatross of the piece, and I can sort of deal with it in my own way without becoming stressed about it.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely gave ourselves a challenge with this painting.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, now that I'm looking at it, I probably for the 1 hour that we have to sort of throw these little studies together, I probably would have just done a straight portrait.
Yeah.
Instead. Oh. Yeah, that's not working either, Chris. Ugh, I just tried to get a little bit more darkness in one of her eyes, and I threw the balance off again. Okay. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. We're already at 45 minutes, Ben. So
Can we go over a little bit? Like,
if you want to, yeah.
just, I'm signed up to vote. Thank you. Take care. Have a good one. Weird little surprise visit there, but a good time to mention. Everybody, make sure you vote.
Yep. We signed up for our ballots, even though we're back in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
We signed up early to get our ballots, and went and collected our mail yesterday, and they're still not there. So it's been like quite some time now, and I am hoping that in years past they've sort of arrived a little on the later side, that it'll just be one of those things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's a little disconcerting though.
Everything is this year.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay.
Okay, I think I have her shoulder in the wrong place.
Yeah. Sometimes it helps to slightly at least when I'm blocking things in, I will go wide with things sometimes and leave myself space to bring it in with paint instead of having to push it back out. I find it's easier to be able to pull it in.
You mean working with negative space?
Yeah, right? Like it's a lot less of a headache for me to, on the top of her shoulder here, like I'm about to do, mix up a color and just kind of go to the line that I want and kind of bring from the negative space inward rather than try to push it out. Because, I mean, naturally, when you try to build it out, you're kind of redrawing all over again.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm glad that I kept things warm. I also have the tendency, you know, now that this session has become more of a confessional about my bad habits in painting, I also have the tendency to go a little bit lighter and a little bit colder than I need to. I can usually pull it in and make everything work together in a landscape. But with the figure, sometimes it gets a little complicated. And for me, at least, I need to keep things warm. I go really heavy with blue sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of into it.
Yeah. Well, this is definitely like a confessional type of place. when you're when you're painting or when you make a painting, the goal is, in the end, for me at least, the goal is to make it look like it was easy, make it look like it was effortless, but it rarely is. And you're seeing that with my painting right now.
I think the effortless aspect of painting comes in the ability just to start it. So many folks have such a hard time just starting to work, you know,
Oh yeah.
for one reason or another. There's something always gets in the way, and the ability just to sit down and force yourself to work. Well, at least I tell myself this, that's usually enough.
Yep. True that. I'm with you there.
Okay. Now, I think with the next few minutes, I think I'm just going to put in a few shapes into her top there. And I think I'm going to try to focus more on not fucking up these hands, because her hands are kind of interesting and graceful.
Yeah.
Here.
As of now, my hands are just on an amorphous skin tone. I'm still working on, getting everything kind of drawn, I guess. I'm going with some of my backgrounds now.
Do you think that um, at least for you, do you have the tendency to draw more in the middle of your piece when your ground is like really dark, opposed to when it's really kind of light? Like if you were painting on a white surface, would you have um, been able to uh, maybe because of the way that you formulated things, get away with not drawing so much halfway through?
Mm. Wait, I don't understand your question. Can you say it again?
Okay. Well, that's what happens when you try to talk and paint simultaneously. Everything just kind of comes out like mush. When I paint, I was asking you about this, but when I start a painting on a very dark ground like you did, which was like that dark kind of brownish red,
right.
I tend to have to draw more midway through. And when I start on a lighter ground like I did, I tend to have to draw less, because I think that the value of paint going on kind of forces me to be a little bit more careful with my shapes. I almost think that painting on like a really dark but intense background, it's sort of like a hall pass just to go crazy. Well, at least that's for me. I kind of feel that I can't really control things when I paint on really dark backgrounds.
So, like, go crazy in a good way, bad way?
Well, it depends on what you want to accomplish, I guess. But
I think
for me, it's normally like something that I have to overcome.
Uh-huh.
It never really, unless I really want to just let loose and put really large shapes in there. It really doesn't behoove me to work on a very dark background anymore.
Uh-huh.
Because I just sort of learned that about myself, that I really can't control the paint as well, and I tend to just I tend to put a lot more paint on too.
I'm putting a shitload of paint on right now because maybe I'm in a hell.
Do you think that's the same with you? Like, do you go heavier with the paint when you have like a dark background, or?
I don't really know. I don't think I've noticed a really consistent trend. You know, I paint a lot, but not as much as you, and not in the kind of similar kinds of formats that you do, being on the road and stuff. So I think you have an awareness about kind of what works for you and what doesn't, that I kind of figure out each time.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's the case with you, but
sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the point where I usually fuck the hands up, because I'm putting in lines that are too dark or intense. Come on, Chris, you can do it.
You can do it, Chris.
Oh, I like how some of her hand goes a little bit violet as well when it gets down toward her pants, because her pants are so dark, and the light that's kind of reflecting off of it is throwing some blue and purple up there. That's cool.
Nice. Yeah, I can't remember what was going on in this photo, but I'm sure I said something like super offensive.
Really?
Or just like disgusting. I don't know. I go for shock value a lot in my relationship.
Excellent. Yeah, I've been married for 18 years, and I thought that I could still shock Becky, but she just kind of sees it coming.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just not as good as I think I am at it.
Maybe I'm getting to that point too.
Yeah. Okay. Where the hell is the... I always get thrown because the highlight on knuckles, when they're foreshortened, sort of zigzags.
Yeah.
And I tend to want to put things in a straight line and just treat everything as though it's a finger that's outstretched.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is a crazy. Her left anatomical hand foreshortening there, especially because she is grabbing her other hand and has like her ring finger tucked in.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she's a crazy chick.
Well, tell her that this wasn't easy for us.
Sure wasn't.
She did not make this a simple project here.
Hmm.
What is she studying at school again?
Medicine.
Medicine.
Yeah. Yeah. Gonna be a doc.
Wow.
ER.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought for a while that I would probably go into medicine too when I was a kid. Yeah. Um, it was sort of a thing that that my family wanted for me, and my grandmother wanted for me, and then I just realized that I can't deal with the bodily fluids. Like
No.
I can deal with well, actually not all bodily fluids. I'll be more specific. I can do blood all day long. I can't do the snot and the urine and like the pounds of fecal matter flying about the room. Like I can't deal with that.
No, I can't deal with it either. I can't even deal with Kelly's stories sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, it takes a special kind of person, for real.
So these are stories that she has from when she was working in the ER, actually.
Yeah, yeah. She's in her fourth year now, so they're doing like a lot of rotate. They do rotations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so she spends a good amount of time in there. It's still my drawing was fucked from the beginning.
Does she have uh, her illegible signature down?
Nah, she actually has like freakishly amazing handwriting.
Oh, that was. I could almost tell that I was never actually going to pursue that because that was one of my concerns as a kid, thinking about going into medicine, because I always saw all my doctors who rushed everything they ever wrote, and I always took care to not do so. And I was kind of proud of my ability to, when I wanted to, really like write and draw neatly.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was going to be like a major sacrifice to prescriptions like a doctor. Like I didn't think that I could cope with it.
That's funny. Ruled it out.
Yeah. But I had a lot of ideas in my head as a kid that I never asked questions about them. I just I just kind of assumed that that's what it was.
Uh-huh. Like, oh, like the doctor's handwriting kind of thing.
Yeah, I had it in my head that um, that I would have to learn how to um, write in a messy fashion, and that if I didn't, I would probably be in trouble from other doctors. And I just kind of made up my mind and thought, well, that's probably how it'll go. And yeah, I just never spoke to anyone about those kind of things.
That's funny.
Yeah, I do like I do like some of the folds and dynamics of her shirt now that I'm working on her sleeves here. I don't think I can really. I don't think I could really get it though, because I would have to do so much more.
Right.
And I'm getting to the point now where, like, I kind of like some of the unfinished areas, and I could possibly start to ruin things.
Yeah, good to be aware of.
I am all too aware of that because I've ruined, or at least in my head, I ruined so much work over the years just
Fire.
because I didn't stop.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you remember that funny little landscape and figure exhibit I had in New Orleans at Abby and Glory's studio?
I do.
Yeah, I'd say that was a good example of me overworking a lot of pieces. I mean, I wasn't really aware of exactly what I was doing at the time. I was just sort of winging most things, but every time I look back at some of the older pieces from when I started off, like almost right away, I I see where I just should have stopped,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, shit.
Yeah, that's what I remember from the show. I was just sort of like these are all overworked paintings.
Well,
I'm
thanks
playing.
for finally letting me know all these years. You could have just said, yeah, these are a little overworked.
I'm just kidding, man. I remember being very impressed with your work back. I don't remember specific paintings from the show, but I remember I knew you were a bad painter.
Well, that's almost too kind of you, Ben. Wow. I looked away, and I've been working on stuff, and I look back, and you just magically have the chair and the fence and everything in there. Wow.
Wait, me? You're looking at mine?
Yeah. Yeah. That was super fast. You did all that in like 10 minutes?
I don't
Shit.
know. I don't know. But I mean,
Ugh. Yeah, I don't even I don't have any of those shapes.
it's
Well,
about the figure, and I'm not really sold on my figure yet.
okay. I need to stop fucking around here. I need to put like I need to put a few highlights in her shirt. I need to. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with her face anymore. And then I'm going to call it. How far are you away? Do you think is this something that you're going to keep working on, or?
I don't think I'll keep working on it. I don't know. I mean, I'll call it whenever you call it. I think I could. Not sure. I gotta take a step back from it. I got a few last little things I'm gonna try to rush in here.
Okay, and then I need a larger piece of paint for the top. Crap. Yeah, I definitely speak a lot less when I'm doing a portrait than when I'm painting a landscape. I think I can just blab more because I'm more used to kind of the day in and day out of painting landscapes.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much more forgiving to paint a landscape.
Yes, because even when you make an error, I mean, you're still in the clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's probably it for me. And then I never do this usually. I'm a lot more careful, but I really wanted to get her shoulder there where the dark hair meets it. I wanted to get that really white. So that's almost just titanium. Okay. And all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. She she has an interesting jaw here for sure. An interesting jaw thing happening. Not ready. But I want to see yours. So how do I do that? I guess can I look at it?
Yeah. Well, you just have to, I guess, take a look, or you can watch the video later. I am
Oh
going to
yeah.
sign
Oh yeah, you
this.
got the expression really well, I think.
Thanks. Yeah, there it is, and I'll turn it so that it's maybe a little bit more obvious what I was doing. Yeah, it's probably going to look better once I take a photo straight on of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, wow. This was quite a challenge, Ben.
It was a tough challenge for sure.
But it was awesome. It was great painting with you.
Yeah.
Can you tell everyone how to find you again online?
Yeah, check me out at Ben Hamburger Art on Instagram. BenHamburgerArt.com is my website. Would love to hear from you. So yeah, thanks so much for inviting me, Chris.
Thank you so much. We'll have to do this again, man.
Absolutely.